Our mind is no longer sovereign territory. It is a colonized data farm. By the end of this session, you will understand why the infinite scroll is not a feature, but a high-frequency surgical strike on your prefrontal cortex. We are going to expose the dopamine slot machine metrics, the exact mathematical algorithms used by the digital elite to shatter your attention span into thousands of unusable fragments. I will reveal the suppressed neuroimaging data on digital frontal lobe thinning, a condition where your brain literally loses the gray matter required for impulse control and long-term strategic planning. You'll see how the mumbling of short-form content is designed to induce a state of cognitive infantilization, turning grown men into reactive children who can be steered by a single notification. Before we close, I'll hand you the neural recalibration protocol, the exact method to reclaim your focus and kick the colonizers out of your skull. If you can't look at a blank wall for 20 minutes without twitching, you've already lost the war for your mind. Drop and give me 20. Let's look at the holes in your focus. The digital grid has moved from conquering your land and your labor to the final frontier, your cognitive sovereignty. This is the era of cognitive colonialism. In the old world, an empire needed soldiers to occupy your streets. Today, they only need a 6-inch rectangle in your pocket. They have bypassed the gates of your fortress and set up camp inside your dopamine loops. This is the financialization of the attention span. Think about the acoustic rot in your home. The mindless chatter of your family is the analog version of the TikTok feed. It is a constant, low-resolution stream of junk data that prevents your brain from reaching the state of neural crystallization required for the architecture of void. The algorithm isn't just showing you videos. It is training your neurons to expect the end. When you scroll every 15 seconds, you are signaling to your brain that any thought requiring more than a quarter of a minute is waste. You are literally pruning the neural pathways of deep focus and replacing them with high-speed, low-value circuits of reaction. The system loves your digital lobotomy. A man who cannot focus for an hour is a man who cannot build an empire. He is a man who can be easily managed by the architecture of extraction. The financial elite want you in a state of permanent reactivity. They want you to react to the news, react to the trends, react to the outrage, because while you are reacting, they are architecting. While you are scrolling, they are buying the hard assets, the land, and the infrastructure that will define your children's lack of freedom. This is the digital castration of the will. The TikTok lobotomy is designed to destroy your threshold of boredom. In nature, boredom is a tactical signal that tells a predator it's time to move, to hunt, to explore. It is the fuel of creativity. But the algorithm has commodified your boredom. It provides a synthetic fix for every microsecond of silence. You are never alone with your thoughts, which means you never have thoughts of your own. You are a vessel for the mumbling of the collective digital mind. The soft men of the West call this staying connected. They call it the future of information. They don't realize that they are the ones being mined. Your attention is the lithium of the 21st century. Your focus is the high-grade ore that is being extracted to power the AI models that will eventually replace you. Every scroll is a micro-donation to your own obsolescence. To the architect, attention is a hard asset. It is more valuable than your bank account because without it, you can't protect your bank account. The cognitive autarky requires you to treat your focus like a sovereign border. You don't let external code run on your internal hardware without a permit. You kill the notifications. You delete the slot machines. You return to the linear momentum of the book, the long-form mission, and the silence. The mumbling will scream as you unplug. The system will send you reminders of what you're missing. It will try to trigger your fear of missing out, FOMO. But FOMO is just the sound of the colonial chains rattling. Once you step into the void of the offline world, you'll realize that you weren't missing content. You were missing yourself. Reclaim your skull. The invasion is silent, but the occupation is total. The only way to win is to stop being a user and start being an inhabitant of silence. The cognitive invasion isn't satisfied with just your leisure time. It is restructuring your internal processing speed to serve the grid. In this extended section, we expose the algorithmic pacing data, the specific frequency of cuts and sound bites designed to induce sensory overload, making deep thought biologically impossible. I will reveal the neurosynchronization metrics, how TikTok uses shared audio memes to force thousands of brains into the same rhythmic neural state, effectively creating a digital hive mind. By the end, you'll hold the gray matter reclamation strategy, the precise environmental hacks to force your brain back into its sovereign linear state. If your thoughts are still moving at the speed of a swipe, the colonizers have already won. Drop and give me 20. Let's look at the static in your neurons. This is the liquidation of the silent intuition. In the wild, your ancestors relied on a high-resolution intuition intuition, a gut feeling honed by the silence of the forest. The TikTok lobotomy replaces this with algorithmic anticipation. You are no longer listening to your own spirit. You are waiting for the machine to tell you what to feel next. Every time you laugh at a 6-second clip, you are reinforcing a neural loop of low-effort reward. You are training your brain that the meaning of life is found in the next flick of your thumb. This is how they build a population of subordinates. A man who cannot sit in a room for an hour without checking his feedback loop is a man who can be broken by a single week of isolation. The financial elite are shorting your cognitive longevity. They know that the soft men of the West are losing their ability to process complex information. This is why terms and conditions are 50 pages long. They know you physically cannot focus long enough to read them. They are moving the legal and financial landscape into the deep text while you are distracted by the shallow video. While you are being colonized by the acoustic rot of viral trends, they are writing the code for the smart ghetto you will soon inhabit. You are being lobotomized so you don't notice when your rights are replaced by subscription services. The architect requires the fortress of linearity. You must reclaim the hard focus. This isn't just about deleting an app. It is about a biological counterinsurgency. You must force your brain to engage with resistant data, books that take weeks to finish, skills that take years to master, and silence that lasts for hours. This cognitive friction is what rebuilds the gray matter the algorithm tried to prune. You are signaling to your DNA that the hunt is back on, and the hunt requires a sovereign mind. The mumbling will tell you that you are out of touch. They will say you are losing relevance because you don't know the latest meme. Let them. Their relevance is a death sentence for their creativity. You don't want to be relevant in a colonized world. You want to be powerful in a silent one. Your biological brain is being used as a free training set for the very machines that will render you obsolete. By the end of this session, you will understand the mechanics of neural sharecropping, how your every reaction, swipe, and micro-expression is harvested to refine the architecture of extraction. We are going to expose the attention mining data, the precise way corporate entities use your scrolling habits to map the emotional fault lines of the human species. I will reveal the cognitive surplus extraction strategy, why the system needs you in a state of constant, low-level stimulation so it can siphon off your creative potential before it ever has a chance to crystallize into a mission. You'll see how the mumbling of social media discourse is a tactical smokescreen designed to hide the fact that you are a digitally displaced person on your own hardware. Before we finish, I'll show you the intellectual autarky protocol, how to encrypt your thoughts by moving them into the analog void where the colonizer's scrapers cannot reach. If you are producing data for them, you are a slave. If you are building structures for yourself, you are an architect. Drop and give me 20. Let's look at the chains on your creativity. This is the era of the human as a resource. In the old world, sharecroppers worked the land and gave the harvest to the Lord. In the digital grid, you work the feed and give your neural output to the server. Every like, every outrage, and every second of watch time is a drop of blood you are providing to keep their AI models alive. You aren't using a free app. You are the biological battery powering a system that is designed to replace your intuition with its calculation. The financial elite are executing a cognitive land grab. While you are busy arguing with the mumbling in your comment section, they are acquiring the rights to the human signal. They want to understand exactly how to trigger your fear, your lust, and your obedience. They are building a digital twin of your psyche so accurate that it can predict your next thought before you even have it. This is the death of the original. Once the system can simulate your reaction, it no longer needs your presence. You become a legacy source, a messy biological relic that is too slow for the 2026 economy. The system uses synthetic intimacy as a leash. The TikTok lobotomy provides a fake sense of community and connection to distract you from the fact that you are physically isolated in a 90-degree box. You are surrounded by the digital ghosts of friends while your physical territory is being occupied by acoustic rot and metabolic decay. This is the isolation protocol. A man who is socially satisfied by pixels is a man who will never have the grit to build a real-world tribe. He is connected to everyone and loyal to no one. He is the perfect modular unit of the digital plantation. The architect requires the sovereignty of the secret. You must implement the intellectual autarky. You stop sharing your mission. You stop vlogging your progress. You move your most valuable thoughts into the silence of the analog. Write in physical journals. Build in physical workshops. Speak in physical rooms with the doors locked. Every time you withhold your data from the grid, you are performing a tactical darkening. You are making yourself indigestible to the scrapers. You are reclaiming the hard assets of your mind. mind and storing them where the cognitive colonizers can never find them. The soft men will tell you that you are becoming a hermit. They will mumble about the benefits of networking and the importance of visibility. Let them. Their visibility is just a target on their backs for the next algorithmic liquidation. You are the architect. You don't want to be seen. You want to exist with velocity. You don't want to be followed. You want to be autonomous. Reclaim your neural harvest. The system wants your data. You give them nothing but the noise of your camouflage. You keep the structure for the void. Your unique biological perspective is being flattened into a standardized digital frequency. By the end of this session, you will understand how cognitive colonialism is a strategic assault on neural variance, the deviant, nonlinear thinking that allowed your ancestors to conquer continents. We are going to expose the echo chamber consensus data, the precise way algorithmic reinforcement creates neurorigidity, trapping your mind in a narrow loop of sanctioned opinions and predictable reactions. I will reveal the dopamine desensitization metrics, showing how the constant high-frequency input of the TikTok lobotomy is chemically erasing your ability to feel reward from the slow building of a long-term empire. You'll see how the mumbling of social validation acts as a genetic suppressor, discouraging the architectural intent required to break the cycle of decay. Before we finish, I'll show you the neuroplasticity protocol, how to use tactical sensory deprivation and cognitive friction to rebuild the gray matter the system tried to delete. If you think like the herd, you are already property of the machine. Drop and give me 20. Let's look at the entropy in your skull. The ultimate goal of cognitive colonialism is neural homogenization. In the wild, survival required a diversity of thought. Some were trackers, some were builders, some were visionaries. This was neural variance. But a world of independent thinkers is a world that cannot be centrally managed. The system needs you to be predictable. It needs your brain to operate on a standardized set of frequencies so you can be easily categorized, marketed to, and steered. This is the standardization of the human soul. The TikTok lobotomy and the acoustic rot of social media are the tools of this flattening. When you consume the same trending sounds, the same viral templates, and the same sanctioned outrages, you are performing a neural synchronization with the herd. Your brain's unique pathways, the architectural intent that makes you you, are being paved over by the high-traffic roads of the collective mind. You are becoming a standardized unit of consumption. Your thoughts are no longer yours. They are just the autocomplete of the digital grid. The system loves your neurorigidity. A man who cannot think outside the algorithmic box is a man who can never see the cage. He believes he is choosing his opinions when he is actually just downloading them from the cloud. This is the digital sharecropping of the ego. While you are busy defending the sanctioned opinions of your echo chamber, the architects of the system are operating in the gray zones of the mind, using your predictability to tighten the leash. Your dopamine baseline is being held hostage. By flooding your brain with high-intensity, short-duration rewards, the system has made the hard work of building a fortress feel like a neural desert. You have been conditioned to expect a fix every 15 seconds. This makes long-term mission focus feel like physical pain. This is the chemical castration of ambition. You want to be the architect, but your brain is addicted to being a user. You want the spring of life, but your neurons are tuned to the acoustic rot. The neuroplasticity protocol is the only cure. You must intentionally introduce cognitive friction. You must read the difficult books. You must sit in the absolute silence of the void. You must engage in slow building projects that offer no digital reward for months. This is how you reclaim your gray matter. You are rewriting the code that the colonizers tried to delete. The soft men will tell you that you are overthinking it. They will mumble about balance. They don't realize that their balance is just a state of equilibrium between two different digital masters. You are the architect. You don't seek balance. You seek dominance over your own biology. Reclaim your neural variance. The system wants you flat. You choose to be abrasive. You choose the unique non-linear path of the predator. The colonial occupation of your mind ends here. To survive the era of the TikTok lobotomy, you must implement the cognitive autarky protocol. This is the final stage of the architect's neural transition. The moment you disconnect your biology from the digital grid and rebuild your focus as an unhackable fortress, you are no longer a participant in the collective hallucination of the feed. You are an occupier of the silence. By the end of this protocol, you will hold the neural blackout tools to purge the colonial code from your hardware and reclaim your seat as the primary actor in your own life. Step 1 is the great algorithmic liquidation. If an application uses intermittent variable rewards to keep you scrolling, it is a weapon of of mass distraction. Your first act of rebellion is to delete the neural slot machines. You move your intellectual logistics to the linear media void. Physical books that offer no notifications, long-form scripts that require sustained internal rendering, and analog tools that don't report your heartbeat to a server. This is how you reclaim your neural depth. You stop being a consumer of snippets and become a structure builder. You don't browse, you infiltrate. You don't scroll, you master. Step 2 is sensory deprivation through the void. The system wants you in a state of sensory flooding because a flooded man has no internal compass. You must implement a digital blackout of at least 4 hours every day. No screens, no acoustic rot, no background noise, just you and the silence. This is the dopamine recalibration. You are training your neurons to find the high-resolution reward in the internal silence rather than the external noise. In this void, your prefrontal cortex begins to thicken again. You are reclaiming the gray matter that the colonizers tried to prune. Step 3 is the recultivation of cognitive friction. You must intentionally engage with resistant information, study languages that require different logical structures, solve physical problems that cannot be Googled, practice the architecture of silence in social settings, withhold your opinion, kill the need for validation, and observe the mumbling of others without participating. This makes you digitally abrasive. You become a zero-knowledge human whose next thought cannot be predicted by an algorithm because it isn't based on a trend. The final stage is the extraction of the ego from the grid. The system uses your social ego as the primary hook for cognitive colonialism. You must kill the user profile inside your head. Stop caring about the digital likes, the sanctioned outrages, and the relevance of your presence in the hive mind. Your only validation comes from the integrity of your mission. When you stop seeking approval from the colonizers, they lose their power over your biochemistry. You become an autonomous entity. The mumbling will reach a fever pitch as you unplug. The system will tell you that you are falling behind. The soft men will pity your isolation. Let them. Their connection is just a shared sentence in a digital prison. You are the architect. You don't want a seat at their table. You want the power to build your own. The cognitive autarky is now in effect. Your skull is your border. Your focus is your law. Get off the floor. You've done your 20. Now go build a mind that they can't colonize.